because this is what I've seen out of Cincinnati the last few weeks. Their defense, by and large, is ranking about 25 to 30 in every category.
Yeah.
Are those early season stats? Because the Bengals defense I'm seeing now is very different from what we were seeing earlier this season.
No, I don't think so. They're getting better. They got healthier. Remember, they was missing some big bodies up front.
Mm-hmm.
They got those guys back.
Welcome to Six Rings and Counting, part 2 for the week. I'm your host, Corey Idle, and joining me as always, my man, Mr. Lou Willard. Lou?
What's up? You notice I got a little different backdrop. Wait a minute, wrong way. Got a Christmas tree in the back.
Yep. Well, I hope Santa brings us some touchdowns in the first 3 quarters of this Bengals game, because we're going to need them.
You're going to need them. You're going to need them. Cincinnati's coming in here. I mean, we got numbers pulled up and everything right here, but you got to score touchdowns against this team. They're coming off of a bye week, but this is the only favor that the NFL scheduling committee did for Pittsburgh. They're coming off a bye. At least we're coming off of a partial bye. So they got a full 2 weeks. We got 10 days. So even though we still have to go to Cincinnati, that means we will have played 2 of the 3 division games already on the road. So when we do come back with them all at the end of the year in a row, we at least get them at home.
Yep. Very true.
You know, so as tough as that schedule is down the stretch, the majority of those games are at least in Pittsburgh.
Let me ask you this right off the rip, because this is what I've seen out of Cincinnati the last few weeks. Their defense, by and large, is ranking about 25 to 30 in every category.
Yeah.
Are those early season stats? Because the Bengals defense I'm seeing now is very different from what we were seeing earlier this season.
No, I don't think so. They're getting better. They got healthier. Remember, they was missing some big bodies up front.
Mm-hmm.
They got those guys back. They do have one of the premier pass rushers in the league. So it seems like everybody in the division has a dog coming off the edge on you. Pittsburgh just has 4, but I don't think it's a product of it. I think it's just a bad defense. They're better up front than they've been, but their back end, they can't get their pass defense together. You look over their last 5 games, they only gave up 14 to the Browns, but that was with Deshaun when they were just completely imploding. Mm-hmm. But then it was 37. They gave up 37 to the Eagles. They gave up, 20? They gave up 24 to the Raiders, but the Raiders beat the Ravens. They gave up 35 to the Ravens, 34 to the Chargers. So they're giving up points. But in those same games, they also scored 27, 34, 41, and 17 and 21. So you have to score touchdowns. If you think you're going to kick 4 or 5 field goals and beat them, you sadly mistaken unless you put 3 or 4 touchdowns with those 4 or 5 field goals.
Oh, that's it. And here's what I find interesting about their team overall, right? And I think the best game to use is their last game against the Chargers, because that team most similarly at this point in the season resembles what we are. Great defense on the Chargers, primary running team, good quarterback, but nothing really happening firing on offense.
And it's a common opponent.
Exactly. And what happened in that game? 34-27. Chargers over the Bengals. So you can stop them. I watched that game, and they were blowing the Bengals out. It was 27-6 in the third quarter. And I said, I'll give it one more possession, then I'm going to bed, because they getting smoked. Cincinnati scored. Chargers went 3 and out because they just took the air out the ball and just started running up the middle. Cincinnati got it back 27-20. I said, man, now I got to stay down here and watch this. And they came all the way back. That's the issue. When you put your foot on their throat, you got to keep it there. This is a team that if you let up, the Chargers did everything wrong which I'm sure Jim Harbaugh knows. I don't like Jim Harbaugh. I like his brother. I don't like Jim, but he has forgotten more football than I'll ever know. I can admit that. But he went too conservative. They went run, then would throw a short pass and gave the ball right back to this high-powered offense, who you was shutting down by pressuring the quarterback, and then the defense backed off. Mm-hmm. And Cincinnati started going down the field on them. You can't do that with this team. Pittsburgh needs to come out, establish the run, like every team should, but so it's basic stuff, but establish the run. Then that way Russ can hit some deep balls. And then when you get up on them, 10, 13 points, which I just spoke of 2 field goals, but I also mixed in a touchdown. Mm-hmm. You better keep the pressure on that kid. Because if you let Burrow sit back there, you're in for a long day. A long day.
Oh, yeah.
And with Cincinnati, actually, I know their record doesn't look great. They're not having a great year record-wise. They're still a team nobody wants to play because you have to beat them. They were a possession away from beating the Chiefs. You see, they were a possession away from beating the Chargers. They were 2-point conversion away from beating the Ravens. I mean, so their record could easily be reversed. So this is not going to be a walk in the park, even though their defense go back all the way back, long story too late, to your initial question. The defense is still their liability, and it's a liability on the back end. So this is going to force Arthur Smith to actually open up this offense. I like to see him do it from the word go, even though I said establish the run because that's what you have to do. If they can do that, they can definitely expose this back end of this defense.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this when you said establish the run, and because the back end of the Bengals defense is so rough, this seems like it would be the Arthur Smith game we've been waiting for because of, if anything else, the play action.
The play action, yeah.
And just to throw this out there for you guys, against the Ravens, the Steelers used play action 30.6% of the time. That was the 4th highest in the NFL. Against the Commanders, 31.4% of the time, 3rd highest percentage in the league. They are using it heavy. And basically, I think this is why Arthur Smith largely came in. Over the last 3 years, this year not included, obviously, they've been running play action 17% of the time. That was last over those last 3 years in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you're not fooling anybody. You're letting everybody know what you're doing right off the rip. So
they weren't even running any motion. So wherever you lined up at, the defense knew where you were going. They weren't even moving. Say if you played a lockdown corner who never moves, some corners go with everybody, like Patrick Surtain and all those guys, best corner in the league, in my opinion.
Yep.
Goes with that number 1 receiver. Some corners, if you remember Revis Island or the Boom Boys in Seattle, whatever they called them, they all stayed in their spots. So you can design plays to get your number 1 receiver away from their best corner. Pittsburgh wasn't even doing that. And that's why this offense was non-existent. Mm-hmm. Now, it seems like we're evolving a little bit, the more Russ plays. And guess what? He's getting another division game, his 3rd one in a row. He's got to be used to this by now. He's got too much experience. And Hendrickson is coming off of that corner. Or what's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
Ted. Ted.
Yeah, Big Ted coming off of that corner with bad intentions. Russ cannot hold that ball. We got to go ahead and get some short passes out, establish that run to open up George Pickens, because they don't have anybody that can guard George Pickens. They don't have anybody, I'm saying it right now, that can guard George Pickens. So we need to establish that. I think we need to get 15 more involved in the offense too.
Yeah, I was my idea for this game, for a guy that's never coached a game of football in his life, would be we're using Pickens downfield. We're using Calvin Austin a lot. I'm talking reverses. I'm talking screens. I'm just getting him involved. Van Jefferson, go do what you got to do. You're going to drop the ball if we have to throw it to you anyway. That's the way it seems to be going. And then I think Jaylen Warren has a massive game. in the same sense Calvin Austin could, with a lot of screenplays, dump offs, and stuff like that to negate the Big Ted pass rush.
I think this is a huge Jaylen Warren game, just like I think it's a huge Chase Brown game for the Bengals, because you have to use those guys to slow that pass rush down. If TJ and Highsmith and Herbig, or Highsmith may not play again, but Herbig and Smith are crashing off of these edges, you got to dump it over their head to slow them down, or at least look like you're going to dump it over their head to slow them down. Pittsburgh has to do the same thing with Cincinnati's D ends, because they're coming off the edge. No one's blocking 94 1-on-1. That's just the bottom line. They're not blocking TJ one-on-one. You know, like when they played the Browns, all the Browns fans I'm in the AFC North chat room, which is hilarious. But Garrett's so much better. Go back and look at the all 22, man. There was 3 people blocking TJ Watt, and you wonder why he wasn't getting sacks.
Right. That's
everybody else's job. He did his job. He occupied 3 players. Really occupied 4, because the quarterback can't do anything. He got the ball. So you got a big advantage at that point. So Cincinnati's going to have to chip him with a tight end. There'll always be a tight end. And remember what I'm saying. What's going to happen, the tight end will try to outflank him. Mm-hmm. And if he does, as soon as the ball snap, before tight end runs his route, he's going to reach down and push him. He's going to push him into the tackle to help the tackle, or else you're going to get your quarterback killed. Now, if you got 2 people doing that, you slowing down the route, you messing up their route tree, and whoever on the other side better be winning their battle, because they can't double team both of them, or Ogunjobi and Cam Hayward going to eat big time up the middle. So that's what they're going to try to do. But then again, they're coming out. I love our DBs, but they got their hands full this weekend.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. That was literally my next question. You are the king of the segue, my friend. So the matchup in this game is clear. Our offense versus their defense, yeah, that's okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's the sidebar.
Yeah, exactly. The matchup is our defense versus their offense. Their offense ranks basically they're top 10 across the board, almost in the top 5 for every stat. Mm-hmm. They are clearly a pass-first team, which presents an interesting option for what our pass rush is going to look like, in my mind, because you have our front guys. Mm-hmm. You obviously have our DBs. Very good. Safeties, very good. We can play with anybody in the league. That leaves this big old question mark on what our linebackers do. Do you have to respect Joe Burrow so much that you drop them back almost into a zone, or pick your poison with a running back tight end matchup?
The thing is, I hear Minka getting a lot of criticism for lack of turnovers and lack of creating and getting turnovers, but he's doing his job. When you go into all these, I don't even argue with these people in these chat room. I'm not. They don't understand football. Mm-mm. So he's doing his job. They're backing him off the ball. They're going to have to bracket Chase. If you don't, what you going to do? Wish Joey Porter good luck. I mean, no one's guarding Chase.
No.
All game by themselves. It just doesn't happen. Now, the man that Cincinnati messing up, they should have paid that man if they didn't already. They need to pay him. But that's a whole different show. But they're going to have to bracket him. Or what I would do is I would employ the Belichick defense against Cincinnati, and I'd have Joey Porter travel with T. Higgins, and I'd put Cam Sutton and Minka both on Chase. That way T. Higgins don't go off on you. He can guard T. Higgins. Nobody can guard Jamar. And that's nothing against T. Higgins. Matter of fact, if he wants to come to Pittsburgh next year, we need to pay him. But nonetheless, I don't think we can afford him with what he's going to get. No. What he deserves, I don't think we can afford him. But nonetheless, I would employ the Belichick strategy of putting my best corner on their second best wide receiver, then double teaming the number one. That way, our linebackers can run with this tight end crew, even though they got some big boys. But Queen and especially Wilson could run with these guys, and Landon could hang with Chase. So this is going to be I want to see this. It should be a great strategic matchup. It really should. But that's what I would do. Like, I don't coach football. I haven't coached anything higher than middle school. But I'm telling you, I would put Joey Porter and have him travel with T. Higgins and just completely take him out of the game.
That is a very interesting strategy.
And I would double team Jamar Chase with Cam Sutton, Elliott, Jackson, Minka. You can just keep running them at him. You can just you got 4. He's one person now. You can double team him back-to-back plays with 2 different people. And they're going to bring him into the slot. When they do that, you got to knock his ass down in that first 5 yards while you got a chance to hit him. When they line him up close to the line, you got to hit his ass. You can't give him free releases, or we've seen it. We'll put 250 on you and 3 tutties. Because if he get loose, no one's catching him. I mean, any of these receivers get loose, they're gone. I mean, that's just even Pittsburgh, any team. But they're gonna have to bracket him, and they're going to keep him inside the numbers if they can. He get outside the numbers, it's a crapshoot, because then it's a foot race. And that also messes up your double team on the bracket, because your bracket is coming from the inside of the field. So the corner has to funnel him back to the inside of the field, because he's clearly their number one option, which he should be. And they're gonna look to utilize him a lot, especially after these dump offs to Chase Brown. I bet you Chase Brown has 7 catches this week.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I don't care.
At least till they adjust.
Yeah, I don't care if they go for 20 yards. A total of 20 yards, but he'll have 7 catches because they're going to try to slow that pass rush down.
Well, of course you don't care if he only has 20 yards. He's on your fantasy team. Those 7 catches are 7 free points.
Oh, is he on my team in our league?
Oh, yeah, is he? Darn. I didn't know that. The only player who's rooting for to have a big game.
Caught me totally by surprise. I think I got T. Higgins, too.
You think you're slick, MF, but you're not.
I think I do have T. Higgins, though. But
you do have
this is going to be a game where they're going to have to throw, and Pittsburgh doesn't want to throw. Because if we don't have to throw, that means Joe Burrow standing on the sideline, Chase, Higgins, Brown, they're all standing on the sideline watching the game. That's the easy. It's the most simplified way to beat them, but it's the easiest way to victory if they stand over there watching you play. But that would be my defensive strategy from a Pittsburgh standpoint, though, is to put Porter on Higgins, then bracket Chase with the other 2 guys, and just chip him right off the line. You got to put some hands on him. If he beats you off the line, the safety got to get there.
The Pittsburgh defense has really kept the team hanging around this season through our field goal woes, largely because of turnovers. Yeah. We're averaging about a turnover a game, maybe closer to 2 at this point.
Yeah, there's more like 2.
Yeah. Where do you see those turnovers coming from in this game, if they come? Because I don't see Joe Burrow tossing interceptions. That's just not a thing I expect.
What you'll see, he'll throw some. He'll throw some in this game because of the pressure. If Pittsburgh's getting that pressure, look for a strip sack.
Okay.
And then just look for him to be going to guys that normally don't get the ball. The one kid is good, but I can't pronounce his name. Starts with an I, number 80, Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, we'll call him Ayahuasca because I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name, but I can't pronounce words like rivalry. I can't pronounce that either. But nonetheless, you're putting guys who are not used to being in big-time situations in the big-time situations if you can slow those 2 outside guys down. Somebody got to play.
Yeah.
And I know I have Chase on my fantasy team, but he'll put that ball on the ground. He will put it on the ground. So look for them to punch one out on him. Look for him to have a fumble. I look for a fumble and a strip sack. But the thing is, if we can pick one up and score defensively, that's really going to help out. Because who knows what we're going to do on offense, man? Who knows? We know what we should do, but you never know week to week, man. You never know week to week.
No. To bring it back around to our offense, I think the biggest question mark is, to your point, where is our offenses going to be? And I don't mean like on the field. I mean mindset. Are you going to be killers because I haven't seen it yet. I've seen our defense do it. Our defense has been straight murderers row. We don't care. We are running over everybody. I have not seen our offense drive down the field consistently with that dog in them. They'll make a couple big plays. They'll do what they got to do, and then they're happy with the field goal.
But the thing is, though, I've like I say, I watch all these games, have since before Mike Tomlin got there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin has a reputation of playing to his opponents. That's why you lost to the Browns. You just play down the people. You know, they're not done. This is no playing down to them because of their record. They typically split with Cincinnati. I look for Pittsburgh to win this game and then lose the one at the last. Well, I don't know if they'll have to play anybody at the end of the year, but that game's in Pittsburgh. That's the one Cincinnati usually wins. I mean, it's the craziest thing. So I look for a more aggressive offensive game plan because they know they cannot win just kicking field goals. They got away with that mess. What was it, last year in Cincinnati when Burrow had 3 interceptions and they kicked a couple field goals. Then their field goal kicker missed 3, and it was wild. It was an ugly. I mean, it was bowling shoe ugly. That's my fantasy football name too. It was bowling shoe ugly.
It was bad.
I look for them to come out in an aggressive tone. I look for them to get that running game going, screen game, and then just start attacking downfield. Downfield. But that's if the running game is slowed down. If we're just running at them and winning, that's all you're going to see because they're going to keep that young man on the sideline, and they didn't give him $275 million because he can't play. You can't keep giving him the ball back. No. Plus the best receiver in the league. Yeah, you can't keep giving them the ball back. Eventually, they're going to beat you. They're eventually going to beat you for a touchdown.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. The most important reason you do not sleep on a divisional game, again, not really talking to anybody watching this show because y'all know at this point, I'm kind of talking to Russ. So, Russ, the reason you don't sleep on a divisional game is the Bengals are 4 games out of first place, 3 games back from the Ravens. One of those 2, at least, are getting that wild card, one of the wild cards. The Bengals schedule after us is the Cowboys, the Titans, the Browns, the Broncos, and then the Steelers again. The Bengals, the way they are playing, Chargers game aside, I understand. But the points they're putting up, they can beat every one of those teams.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You can't sleep on these games.
And even that Chargers game, they scored 27.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on the road.
Yep.
They scored 27. So you got to win these games because you don't want to see Cincinnati in the playoffs because their offense is too volatile. They're liable to put 45 on you and make it look easy when they're doing it. Now, they might give you 48, but boy, it'll look like a Division II college basketball game score is what it'll look like if they get going because you better be able to keep up. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because as you come down the stretch, Denver has proven to be a good football team.
Yeah, they're getting it together real fast.
Again, that's a common opponent because, common opponents. Everybody got to play the North, play the West, common opponent. Mm-hmm. But so they finish up with 2 tough games because as I was thinking about it, Pittsburgh won't be able to sit anybody because the Ravens aren't going anywhere. No. As we record this show, if they beat the Chargers tonight, they right back on our heels. So we got to be Chargers fans. Like to say the common opponent. So that goes down to tiebreakers too. One of the first tiebreakers outside of head-to-head is division and common opponent and conference. So you got to win these games. Cincinnati finishes with 2 tough games. I don't know where the Denver game is, but I know obviously the last game is in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh should have to have all hands on deck. And keep in mind, we're right behind the Chiefs, and we play them.
Mm-hmm.
So they stumble and we beat them. You're tied with them, and you got the tiebreaker, head-to-head tiebreaker. So Pittsburgh's still in the hunt, believe it or not, for the number 1 overall seed.
Oh, 100%. They just got to get that offense going.
If that offense open up with the defense we got, and the weather and stuff that could come in Pittsburgh with some of these teams that like to sling it around, it could make a difference.
And to just rewind, go back to schedules, the Ravens schedule to end the season is Eagles, Giants, Pittsburgh, Houston, Browns. That's
not an easy schedule. I mean,
no, but
aside from the Giants,
they are winnable games.
They are.
Our schedule is by far more difficult.
Yeah.
This offense, I mean, look,
it has to open
preached
up.
it all season. This offense has to get it together now.
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
Now.
Because, I mean, the Ravens don't have the easiest schedule left, but Pittsburgh has the hardest schedule left.
Yep.
Because aside from the Giants, they're playing teams that have to play. The Eagles can't even shut it down because somebody forgot to tell the NFC North that they're not supposed to be any good outside of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine being in that division?
Oh.
I mean, how you 8-2 and in third place? Second, so I think somebody 7-3 and in third place. I said, damn, or whatever these records are at this point.
Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota are that division is exactly what this division was supposed to be.
Yep. Exactly. That division is bananas.
It's good.
And Detroit is good. Detroit is really. Detroit is good. They're physical. They're fast, and they could fuck you, fight you, run your foot race. They don't care. They are. I'm telling you, they're gonna be a hard out for somebody in the playoffs. Glad they ain't on our schedule because we got a tough enough schedule as we go forward.
Yeah, we'll just see them in February. I'm fine.
We don't need any more headaches. I would love to play them this year. Love to play Detroit this year because that means we in the Super Bowl, baby.
That's it.
But right now, we got to figure out how to score 34 points on Sunday. Or we losing.
All right. Let's wrap this up before we get too depressed. Thinking about all this, trying to figure out where these touchdowns are coming from. Give me your prediction, Lou.
34-30 Steelers because the game's in Cincinnati.
Okay.
If it was in Pittsburgh, I might pick Cincinnati for the upset because that's the way this rivalry goes. But I think 34-30 Pittsburgh.
I'm going to call it 31-27, which might be dead ass what it was last time Bengals played against the Chargers. That's what I see.
It's going to be good. It's going to be a good game.
Until we put up consistently more than 30 points, I can't predict us scoring much more than 30 points.
Yeah, look.
You know
against but against this defense, we should.
Oh yeah, well,
because trust me, you'll hear some lower scores coming out of my mouth going forward with this schedule.
Now I believe you, and
there ain't gonna be no 30-point predictions when they play the Eagles.
You haven't been wrong on this show. I mean, Daniel Jones is our janitor again. Everything has been right in the universe as you've called it. So I hope that is the case.
Hated to see the young man lose his job, though. Yeah, don't see nobody lose a job.
He'll catch on.
But yeah,
he'll probably be back up for Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, it better not be. they better keep exactly what they got. They better find a way to keep Kyle Allen as the third quarterback.
There you go. That'd be good enough for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game. Obviously, again, my hope is the offense figures it out, man.
Well, we know one thing is going down to the last 3 minutes.
100%.
Pittsburgh don't play any other type of game.
All right, I'm going to give you the worst thing I could do. I know this backfires on me every time. True or false? Last team with the ball wins the game.
True.
Boom, we're out. For Lou Willard, I'm Corey Idle. We're getting out of here as fast as we can before he starts telling me why it's not. This is Six Rings and Counting. We will talk to you guys next week.